Rabbi said, I have today a bunch of new questions brought to you by, okay. Let's start. Okay, P'sus Toivus Tam Yisrael, Be'ez Hashem. I don't know if we spoke about it last year or not, but anyway, there's a new angle to this year. The Mishnah says in Pirkei Avos, Al Shloisha Dvarim Ha'olam Oimed. Al HaTorah, Al HaAvodah, V'al Gvulus Chazon. Says the Maharal that in the Mabul, they undermined these three Amudim. And that's the come that were wiped away. In that Mishnah in Derech Chaim over there. How did they undermine? You tell me. In what way did they undermine the Amud of Chesed? Gezel. But Timala it's Chamas. Gezel. Chamas. Okay? So that's for sure the opposite of Chesed. In what way did they undermine Avodah? Because it says in Rashi, "V'tishoches." Let's give a look on the Rashi on "V'tishoches ha'aretz lifnei Elokim." Here, Perek Vav Pasuk Yud Aleph. What does it say? "V'tishoches ha'aretz lifnei Elokim." Perek Vav Pasuk Yud Aleph. Says Rashi, what does it mean "V'tishoches"? Loshen erva v'avodah zara. Says the Maharal, erva is the antithesis of Torah. Because Erva is Maisa Chomri, Torah is Ruchni. He has the Maisa Behema, which is the opposite of Torah, and Avodah Zarah is for sure the opposite of Avodah. So they were engaged in three Maisim, which undermine the three Amudim that the Olam stands on. So of course the Olam will fall. That's what the Maharal says. Did we ever speak about this, Maharal? It's mamish. It's connected. Look, he says the three amudim are connected the gimel averes chamuras, which was coming up. We're saying now, and it's connected the others. The kitzur, he goes into it mamish. All the threes he could think of, but he speaks about Dora Mabul, and he says that's how come they were wiped out. You can't have a world without amudim. I want to ask a few questions here. Question number one: Oy bazei. If so, oh, Rav Kaduri, Shalom Aleichem. If so, how could a Baruch Hu give a haftacha they'll never bring a Mabul again? How could you sustain a world without Hamudim? It comes out from the Maharal that the fact that they were wiped away is not like a oynesh. You can't have a world without Hamudim. Al shloisha dvarim ha'olam omed. And Dora Mabul actively were engaged in undermining the Amudim. So how could a Baruch Hu give a haftacha, I'm never going to bring a Mabul anymore? How could you sustain a world without Amudim? So you can Baruch Hu can do whatever he wants. Okay, you can say that. The Eibishter can machen was wilt. Good Yiddish, no? So I would ask to ask question number one is a psicha for today. On that, the boy say, there is an answer. It says, you know what it means? There's an Indian Rav Hutner Zatzal speaks about the Pachad Yitzchak Yom Kippur, Maamar Yud Aleph, which is called Mokom HaNegia. Two different people could do the same deed, good or bad, let's say an Avera, but one is a Sar of a Melech, so when he does something, it could endanger the whole Malchus of the Melech, and one is not a Sar. A simple clerk. So the scope of his danger is, if a shu nogea, is less. He says this has to do with neshamas. We don't know which neshama comes from a higher place, which neshama comes from a lower place. But what happened as a result of the Mabul was that Kodesh Baruch Hu said, people will not have any more the ability to be undermining the Gimel Amudim of the Torah. People are going to be like 5-year-olds now. I'm going to treat them like 5-year-olds. Whatever a 5-year-old does, is he can't undermine the Amudim of the world. There was a Yerida in the status of Adam. Adam, he's not so choshev anymore that he could do such a terrible impact. Lo Yosif Lo sif od, meaning Rafudim proves in another place, and this in Pesach, Mamar Tes, on the Mishnah it says in Perek Azav, whoever is not oimed b'diburoi doesn't keep his word, even though halachically he doesn't have to give it. Misha pora midor hamabol midor palaga, hu yipora misha eino oimed b'diburoi. So asks Rafudim, that's why dafka dor hamabol dor palaga. There are other daughters that Hakadosh Baruch Hu punished Mishayim. So why dafka those two? And he says a person's called Adam because of his dibur. And if someone gives promises and doesn't keep his dibur, he says Keda'amli inchi, like people say, U'asamil shonos smartut. He made a shmata from his tongue. He was mafchis from the erech of Adam, because Adam's named after his dibur. And where do you see two Yeridas in Madreg of Adam in the Mabul? What we're saying now. And then afterwards, and then they can't communicate anymore with each other. And the Adam's called Adam because of Dibur. That's another Yerida in the status of Adam. So whoever punished Adam twice by lowering his status will punish someone that doesn't keep his word. So therefore, it's not such a kasha. How could a Baruch? It's not. He's saying Adam doesn't have any more that chashivas that the damage that he could cause will be undermining amudim of the world. He's not that chashiv anymore. That's what Baruch is saying. Lo yosifot. I'm not going to bring a mabul anymore. Fine. You can answer that. That would be a nice answer. But now, Rabbi Say, I want to go with you from here. Give a look, please, Rabbi Say, in Perek Yud Aleph, Pasuk Tes. In Dora Palaga, look what happened there. And I got a Gavaldige Kasha to ask. Perek Yud Aleph, Pasuk Tes. What does it say? Really starts already in Pasuk Ches. Vayofetz Hashem oisa misham al pnei kol haaretz, vayichdalu libnot ha'ir. Al ken kara shma Babel, ki sham balal Hashem svas kol haaretz, u'misham mefitzam Hashem al pnei kol haaretz. And here comes a Maritik Rashi, which I'm sure we all know. And Perek Yud Aleph Pasuk Tes. Lamad she'enem chelek l'hem haba. Okay, good. V'chi ezu kasha, shador ha'mabul, shador ha'palaga, who did a worse sin? And Rashi, it's like a rhetorical question. Elu, meaning Dora Mabul, lo pashtu yad be'ikar. They didn't deny Hashem. Ve'elu, Dora Palaga, pashtu yad be'ikar li'ilochem boy. They fought against Hashem. And ironically, look what happened. Elu, the Dora Mabul again, nishtafu, were wiped out. Ve'elu, Dora Palaga, lo nevdu min oilam. Even though they were engaged in the more severe avera. It's a kasha. Ella, shadora mabul hayu gazlonim, vayisa meriva b'nehem, lekach nevdu. Ve'elu hayu noagim abba v'reus b'nehem, shenemar sofa achas udvar machadim, lamadata shesanu yamachlokes v'godel hashalom. A beautiful Rashi. Right? What does the Rashi say? Dora Mabul were engaged in something which seems not as severe as Dora Palaga. Dora Palaga were fighting Hashem. Kofru be'ikar. Dora Mabul not. And look, Dora Mabul were punished more severely. How do you understand it? Because Dora Palaga had Shalom. How they got together with something so negative, it's still called Shalom. Oh boy, so according to the morale, this Rashi doesn't start. You tell me. What?
Why couldn't they all have been in the table?
Who?
The Dora Mabul.
Because they deserve to die.
No, the world needed to be destroyed.
And the people have to be destroyed. No, it's people also. When the Malach says over there, he says in their time, it's also people. That's okay. But according to the morale, Rashi's point doesn't even start. Dora Mabul, you know how come Dora Mabul wiped away and Dora Polaga wasn't? Because Dora Mabul undermined 3 amudim. Dora Palaga only undermined 1 amud. The amud of Avodah. I don't know what's more ikar amongst the 3. That I don't know. They did not undermine Gminus Chasadim because there was shalom between them, and they were not engaged in Gilui Arayis. How do I know they were not engaged in Gilui Arayis? Come on, Baruch. Where's that Rashi? a Rashi in Sefer Breshis. You remember? When the brothers of Dinah heard what happened to Dinah, they got extremely upset. V'chen lo ya'aseh. You remember what Rashi says there in V'chen lo ya'aseh? Give a look, guys. Where's it say V'chen lo ya'aseh? Here, Perek Lamed Dalet, Pasuk Zayin, on page Kuf Dalet in this Chumash. ובני יעקב באו מן השדה כשמם ויסצפו אנשים ויכל להם מאוהד כי נמלה עשה בישראל לשכב בספס יעקב וכן לא יעשה. Says Rashi, what does it mean וכן לא יעשה? לאנוס לפסולוס שהאומויס גודלו עצמם מן הרייס על ידי המבול. That's what it says. שהאומויס גודלו עצמם, so they were not ports anymore by הרייס. So maybe that's the difference between Dor HaMabul and Dor HaPalaga. What did Rashi do? He singled out one thing they did, Gezel, and he compared it to Kofer Bigra. This is one, this is one. So how come they were so punished more severely by the Mabul? Because why weren't they Apalaga? There was Shalom. No, that's not the Chilik. According to the Mabul, that's a much bigger Chilik. And Dor Mabul, they undermined 3 Amudim. Dor HaPalaga, they had to make 1 of it. Maybe you go after Basarov, majority, I don't know. But how could you bring a raya? That the whole chilik is because it's Shalom. Maybe the chilik is here, it's 3 amud, here's 1 amud. I think it's a gewaltige kasha tomorrow.
You're saying that they try to undermine the Voida. I thought they were trying to undermine Kilu.
Because what it was. That's a Voida.
That's a Voida?
Yeah.
Isn't that more important than the 3 Kilos?
I don't know. I don't know which is more important. No, I don't know. I'm not going to go into what's more important than these 3 amudim. I can't guess it. But it doesn't make a difference anyway. It's 3. The Maral says. Okay, I'm not going to go into that, Yosef. I'm not going to go into that. This is more. This is less. I don't know. If you have a raya, bakasha. Without a raya, I can't do it. Fine. So anyway, I'll put him up by saying. So let's go back. So what are you saying here? I think it's a more the kasha the Maral. Harav Kaduri law. How does the Maral learn this Rashi? Again, what is Rashi presenting? Dor HaMabul did only one thing. And Dor HaPalaga did only one thing. It's 1 against 1. And Dor HaPalaga, it's much worse. So how come they survived?
So where did Rashi present one thing that the Dor HaMabul did?
Gezel.
That's in the teretz, in the kasha.
What?
That's only in the answer.
Look
The question is that Lo Toshku Yodam Le'ika. It's not pointing out what they did.
So, 1 second. You know what? I hear, Michal, what you're saying. You're saying, Kiragil, very good. Let's wait a second. We'll come back to it in a minute. I want to ask another question on the Jewish people, on this Rashi. That's the chilik between Dor HaMabul and Dor HaPalaga? Shalom? First of all, 3 amudim, 1 amud. Secondly, maybe Dor HaPalaga, because there was already a shvur that kicked in. I won't bring a Mabul anymore. And Dor HaMabul, they don't have the shvur yet. Maybe that's the chilik. Another gewaldige kasha. Who told you that that's the chilik? Here's Shalom and here's not Shalom. Mi Amalecha. Efshar the chilik is Andresh, and Dor HaMabul is given far the shvur, and Dor HaPalaga is given noch the shvur. The Yiddish is good, no? Yeah. Not bad. Far the krieg, noch the krieg. It's far the shvur, noch the shvur. So maybe that's how come Dor HaMabul wasn't wiped out? I guess you gotta say, on that kasha, bakasha. So the Gemara in Tzvachim Daf Kuf Tetzayin Amud Aleph says on the bottom that nothing, esh, maim, it can't be done at all. Okay, the Gemara Masechet Tzvachim, if there is one good, if not, it's okay. That the Ummah Sa'elam came to Bilam and they said, what's happening? By Matador. Is there a Mabul? And he said, no, HaKadosh Baruch Hu won't bring a Mabul. Hashem Mabul Yosha. So he says, so maybe, Shkach. Okay, young people is okay. Young people is a little bit, yeah. Nachon. You know what the Gemara says here? כשנית התורה לישראל היה כולו הולך מסוף אוהלם עד סופו. זבחים קט"ז עמוד א' on the bottom. בכל מלכי עובדי הכוכבים מחסדן רעדה בהיכליהם. ונתקבצו כולם אצל בילם הרשע. They all came to בילם. ואומרים לו, מה כל ההמון אשר שמענו? What's this noise? שם המבול בא לעולם? So he told him, no, השם למבול יושב. He promised he won't bring one. כבר נשבע הקדוש ברוך הוא שאינו מביא מבול לעולם. אמרו לו, מבול של מה אינו מביא? אבל מבול של אש מביא? אמר להם, כבר נשבע שאינו משריס כל בשר. Says Rashi, here, אמר להם, כבר נשבע שיהיה מלך לעולם על בריאוסו ולא ישחיסם. Not only in the form of mayim, also in the form of esh, you name it. But maybe Torah Palaga wasn't the whole world. Could anybody be me right for Rashi this week's parsha? We're doing quizzes, tests. And then you'll get a report card at the end of the term, you know, and your wife will have to sign, you know, it's an A. I think that's a lot scarier if your wife has to sign. If your parents have to sign, so we went through that. So if my wife would have to sign, it's a lot of Anyway, what do you see everybody say? Did Torah Palaga cover the whole world? Michadki said the first pasuk is, Vayi kol ha'aretz sof ha'achaz advar machadim. But Rabbi said, where does it say, Me'aretz yatsa Ashur? Where does it say that Ashur left the country? Pasuk Yud Aleph. Where? Yud Yud Aleph. Perik Yud Pasuk Yud Aleph. Shkoyach. Min ha'aretz yatsa Ashur. Vayim et Esrid ve'et Chov et Ha'ir ve'et Kalach. Says Rashi there, what do you mean yatsa Ashur? Kivan shara Ashur et banav shomim leNimrod u'mordim b'makom livnois hamigdal yatsa mitocham. He left them. So apparently, it wasn't the whole world involved in Torah Palaga. So the Shua doesn't apply to that. HaKadosh Baruch Hu could have wiped them out. Hi, HaKadosh Baruch Hu made already a Shua not to wipe out. That's the Gans about. But there were marbles done locally. Where? Rashi says, Do enosh shetzif alim et okyanos. Where's Rashi say that? Baruch. So a marble was done. So Rabbi said that kasha we can answer. So again, let's just go over again the kashas that we have here. Let's start again. The Maharal says that the Dora marble was wiped out because they undermined the Gimel Amudim that the world stands on. That's a chiddush of the Maharal. Members, he's the only one that says it. The question number one that we had is, so how could HaKadosh Baruch Hu promise that he won't bring a marble anymore? How could you sustain a world? Perek Vav Pasuk Dalet, Shkoyach Baruch. Perek Vav Pasuk Dalet, Hanifilim Naflu. Yeah. Dor Eno Shalok Taz V'Tziv Shlish Olam. Okay, that happens. But that's before the marble and economic. So again, so let's just repeat what we're saying here. So you can say it over at the Shabbos table. The Maharal there's Gimel Amudim. Question number one is, how could Baruch Hu then give a promise he won't bring a marble anymore? How could you sustain a world that is lacking 3 Amudim? You cannot hold a building without a foundations. So how could Baruch Hu give such a kind of aftacha? And then we answered what Rafudah Zatzal said, Mokum Anigia. They're like, people are going to be treated now as children. What does that mean? People are going to be treated as children? They don't have the power to change the mahalach of the world. I'll give you an example to it. Example, let me just add just what I want to say before. The Gemara in Avodah Zarah, and Daf Nodal Amud Beis says. Okay. We made a cheshbon. Whoever brings it is young, so that's what comes out. So very good. First, the Gemara in Avodah Zarah, Daf Nodal Amud Beis. Tanu Rabbanan. שאלו פילוסופים מתעסקנים ברומי. אם אלוקיכם אין רצונו בעבודת כוכבים, if Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't like Avodah Zarah, so how come he doesn't cancel it? מפני מה אינו מבטלה? אמרו להם, אילו לדבר שאינו אין להם צורך לא היו עובדים, הרי הוא מבטלה. הרי הם עובדים לכמה לא לבן או לכוכבים למוזוס. A world cannot exist without a sun and a moon. יאבד העולם מפני השייטים, אלא עולם כמנהגו נוהג, ושייטים שקלקלו עתידים ליתן את הדין. דבר אחר, הרי שגזל שאה של חיטים, וזרעה בקרקע. He stole seeds from some, and he planted it in the ground. Dinu שלא תצמח. It should have blossomed. It's stolen. It's immoral. If you put seeds that are stolen to the ground, it should not grow. אלא עולם כמנהגו נוהג ואילך. ושייטים שקלקלו עתידים ליתן את הדין. דבר אחר, הרי שבעל אשת חברו, immoral relationship. Dinu שלא תתאבש. She should not become pregnant. There should be mamzerim in the world. But there are. אלא עולם כמנהגו נוהג ואילך ושייטים שקלקלו עתידים ליתן את הדין. What's this Gemara saying? What's this Gemara saying? That the immorality of people does not affect nature. You can steal seeds and you put it into the ground, it's going to blossom. Someone's bought Eshes Chavero, it's wrong, it's violating what's in Hashem, she could still be conceived. What? Avodah 54b. Nudal Amud Beis. Okay? Well, what's this we're bringing out? That there's two tracks, and one Lo Pagaz B'Zeh Kol Halayla. There's the moral track of Torah, Avodah, Ratzon Hashem, and so on. הפקדו להיות כמה דקות ואנחנו מסיימים. And there's the laws of nature. Up to the Mabul, they were intertwined with each other. People misbehave, there's no more world. It's over. It says Lo Yishboisu, that means they were Shavis. People misbehave, the world's over. Once HaKadosh Baruch Hu made a shvur and said, the Teva will go on its track, morality will go on its track, and I'm going to deal with each one on an individual basis, but it won't be that one affects the other. That's what happened after the Mabul. Nachon? So Mimele, things changed after the Mabul. So how could HaKadosh Baruch Hu give a promise he won't bring a Mabul anymore? Hi, if you're undermining the three pillars of the world, what's going to sustain the world? People with their immorality will not undermine the Mahalach of the world. Their Mokum Negia is less.
The Gemara in Avodah Zarah is the same three things as by the Bible. Arayos, Avodah Zarah, and Gezel.
That's very geschmack. That's very Jewish. Rabbi Chol, you should write a commentary called the Jewish Commentary. I don't think there's any commentary on Shas called the Jewish Commentary. Because I once told to Rabbi Shapir Zatzal, I said, if you look at Oitzah Chochmah, it has how many swam? Almost 130,000? Something like that. You know what it shows? The tremendous Ava of Am Yisrael to Torah. Throughout all the generations, throughout everywhere. In Europe, in Africa, in America, in Middle East, everywhere the people, Am Yisrael were learning Torah. And wrote Svarim. It's covering a period of over 1,000 years. And no matter what dire situation we were under, we were always learning Torah. There's no tkufa that there weren't Am Yisrael producing Svarim and learning Torah. That's why I said. He told me, he disagrees. He says there's a few Svarim that should have been forgotten. And now they're not. That's what he said. There's a reason how come some Svarim were forgotten, some Svarim were not. And now they're all coming back again. That's what Moshe told me. Okay. He's a giant, so obviously he's right. But anyway, Rabbi said that takes care of question and answer number one. How could you give a haftacha if you don't have a mudim? You're not going to touch anymore the mudim. You're not that choshem anymore to undermine the mudim of the world. And the three here are parallel to Avodah Zarah, and he's right. What that means. Good. And then we had question number two. Question number two on the moral is, if Dor Mabul violated the three Amudim, so how can you say that the edge that Dor Paloga had is Shalom? Maybe the edge that Dor Paloga had is because they only undermined one Amud, the Avodah. But Dor Mabul undermined three. Maybe that's the chiluk between them. That kasha we're going to come back soon. Kasha number 3. How could you compare Dura Mabul and Dura Palaga and say that the difference between them is they were in Shalom and they were not Shalom? Maybe the difference between them is this is before the Shua and this is after the Shua. So now we have an answer. No, the Shua is not Nogia to Dura Palaga. It wasn't the whole world. Even if Kodesh Baruch Hu would have wiped them out, it wouldn't have wiping out the whole world. We saw Usher went out. I mean, if Usher went out, maybe other people went out. Okay. I have another question to ask that I looked around, I couldn't see anybody asking it. So obviously it's not a good question, but I don't know why. There's another place in Chumash where Rashi points out how come Dura Palaga weren't wiped out. Here's one of them. You know, when he's comparing it to Dura Mabul, and they did a much more severe transgression, and yet they were not wiped out. You know why? The Koach of Shalom. Godel HaShalom v'sanuya machlokes. There's another place in Rashi. I'm sorry? Yeah. Let's see if I think Rashi says both. Maybe I'm misquoting it. Let's see if Rashi said both. Shayin Nogim Ava v'Reus b'neim. Ava Reus and Shalom, they're all together. Fine. Where's the other Rashi Chaboy say in Chumash? Where? Where's the Tzibur Dura Mabul Dura Palaga wasn't wiped out? It could be. I don't remember. No Raya. Reb Shlomo, where's the other Rashi? What? You know, and if I'll give you 25 pounds, you remember? I'll tell you, I was once learning a chavrusa when I was a bacher with Reb Mordechai Elephant Zatzal. And he told me, he gave me a Gemara Zvachim, not much like this one. Here it is, a Gemara Zvachim. He said, ask me any, you don't learn Zvachim yet, he tells me, but still, you can still read. Ask me any kasha, any choices in Zvachim, and if I don't know, you get $25. And then $25 was a matbea. It's not like today. Any choices I don't know, you get $25. I said, really? Yeah. So I started testing him. I could read, I could see, he knew everyone. I tested him for over an hour. He tells me afterwards, Yeshua, you think I remember every taste? When it comes to $25, I start remembering. If you knew Rabbi Elephant, that's very matim. A boy said, there's another Rashi in Pashas Azinu. Yatsev gvulos amim lemispa bnei Yisrael. Give a look what Rashi says there. Paraglamet Beis. Pasuk Ches. Chestes, you could say. The first page of Azinu. B'hanchel elyon goim. B'afrido bnei Adam. Yatsev gvulos amim lemispa bnei Yisrael. Ki chelik Hashemam or Yaakov Chanoch Tzor. Look at what Rashi says there. Here, בהתחלה עליון גויים, כשהנחיל הקדוש ברוך הוא למכיסה ואת חלקם נחלתם, היא ציבם ושטפם. I guess he's referring to the Mabul, I don't know. But the next one. בהפרידו בני אדם, כשהפיץ דור הפלגה, היה בידו להעבירה מן העולם. He could have wiped them out. ולא עשה כן. He didn't do it. אלא יצב גמולות עמים, כי עמם ולא איבדם. למספר בני ישראל. You know why? בשביל מספר בני ישראל שעתידים לצאת בבני שם. ולמספר 70 נפש של בני ישראל שעבדו למצרים, הציל גבולות עמים 70 לשון. Next what Rashi, כי חלק השמון למה כל זאת, לפי שהיה חלקו כבוש ביניהם בעתיד לצאת, ומי חלקו עמו, ומי עמו יעקב חב לכבודו. So Rashi explicitly says a different reason. He could have wiped out the Dura Palaga, but he didn't because he wants to leave Am Yisrael coming out from them. The same question with two separate answers. I looked around, I didn't see anybody ask it. Mamish, the same question. How come he didn't wipe out Dora Palaga? He could have wiped them out. V'lo saken. He didn't do it. He kept the numbers 70-70 because Am Yisrael was supposed to come out from Shem. The story. Okay, the Rashi needs beer, but accompany that's what he says. And Rashi Bayun says a different reason. What, both reasons? How come here he says this reason, there he says that reason? I didn't know you there. I don't have an answer to that one. If anybody throughout the week will come up with an answer, but you just make a comparison. Rashi Yud Aleph, Breshis Yud Aleph Tes, to Rashi Lamed Bet Chet.
Why can't it be that Rashi's asking why they weren't destroyed and this one's asking why Darhamabel was destroyed?
You can't say it's because of the Shalom they were destroyed.
Doesn't say that.
No, Rashi says it's Godol Shalom. The Sarei Machlokes, the Halamadata.
He doesn't finish the Kathleen there too.
No, come on. Like that. Halamadata, Shegodol Shalom, the Sarei Machlokes. What do you say, Sarei Machlokes? What do you say first? Nachman, what do you say first? Godol Shalom, the Sarei Machlokes. Right? Shesoni HaMachlokes v'Godol HaShalom. Where do you see Godol HaShalom? Where do you see Godol HaShalom? Maybe it's because that Am Yisrael should come out. Because you're saying two different reasons for the same phenomena. That's another kasha. Okay? That's another kasha. I want to ask one more question. And then we'll come back to what Reb was saying about that, the strongest question. According to Ral, here's 3 amudim, there's 1 amud. So how could you compare? The Rashi with Noach, with the Rashi with the Azino, I promise you, I'm not being cute. I don't have a clue how to answer it. Bemis, I worked on it. I came up with nothing. Clue. Okay, I want to ask you another question. The Gemara says in Tractate Psachim. Who's the young one for this one? If there's no Psachim, it's okay. Im ein beseres, nicht gefällig. No, Bemis, it's okay. I'll tell you the Gemara. The Gemara says in Masechet Psachim, Daf Kufiyat Chesed Aleph. Fine. Pretty much on the top of the page. Says the Gemara, how come there's 26 Kilo Olam Chazos? In Hoydul Hashem Kilo Olam Chazos, there's 26 of them. You're getting younger by the minute.
This one goes back?
Yeah, Vakasha. This one also scared. What? Yeah. What does the Gemara say? How come there's 26 Kilo Chazdos? You could say Shemavaya. You know, those are into Kabbalah. Kabbalistic. I'm sure it has to do with it. Amar Rabbi Yishua ben Levi. Hani esrim b'shisha hoidu. כנגד מי? כנגד כבב דורות שברא הקדוש ברוך הוא בעולמי ולא נשא להם התורה. וזנו יסוד בחסדוי. Meaning there's 26 kilo chazdoi, it's corresponding to the 26 dairas that HaKadosh Baruch Hu sustained in the world without giving them Torah yet. Why is it 26 generations? 10 from Adam Rishon to Noach, 10 from Noach to Abraham, and then Yitzchak is 21, Yaakov 22, Levi 23, Kahas 24, Amram 25, Moshe 26. It says, what? Because the Gemara says it's 26. Okay, maybe there's another chazal. But there's 26 kilo chazals. Okay? And the Gemara explains because he didn't give Torah yet. So, al cheshbon baron, meaning he held it on his cheshbon. Again, the notion of the Gemara is, שברא הקדוש ברוך הוא, כבב דורות, שברא הקדוש ברוך הוא בעולמו, ולא נשא להם תורה. He didn't give them Torah. בזן אויסה בחסדוי. So how can you say Torah Mabul undermined the Amud of Torah when the Amud of Torah didn't exist for 26 Torahs? That's what we're saying. For the first 26, again, Rav Huda Zatzal explains this Gemara. The way you superficially read it, it sounds like after Matan Torah, the Chesed of Hashem went down. Initially, large, כמו שאומרים בעברית. אתה מכיר את הביטוי הזה, ארי? Large. Large, because HaKadosh Baruch was very large on my cheshbon, and afterwards not. So after Matan Torah, the chesed was diminished. So Rav Huda says, Chas v'shalom. But just like there's two ways to sustain someone. Or you give him a check every month, a matana, or you give him a job, and now he'll make his own parnasa. What's the deeper chesed? Superficially, if you give him a check every month. But if you think deeper, now he earns it. So Rav Huda calls it chesed vitul versus chesed mishpat. Initially, $26, you don't have to do anything. No Torah, no avodah. I'm still going to hold you out. From then on, no, you get now it's a business deal. You got to keep Torah and sustain it, right? That's what he says. It's just, now it's like 1 kilo chazda for all doors. It's not every door you're giving charity again and again and again. Now it's one deal. You keep Torah, the world will exist. Nachon. So was there Amud Torah till Matan Torah? Rabbi Yehuda, Taitano Rabbi Yehuda. Chazak. L'chura not. So how could the Ram says that they undermine the Amud Torah? It didn't exist then. What was the Amud Torah in Dora Mabel? Elamai, you could say maybe Sheva Mitzvahs Ben Enoch is called Torah. So then how could you say for $26 HaKadosh Baruch Hu sustain the world for free? They got Sheva Mitzvahs Ben Enoch. Nimanam Shach. What?
When Sheva Mitzvahs after the Mabel?
No, other mission had 6, and the 7th one was added by Noach. Every Minachai was added days of Noach. But 6, the Gemara said it, definitely Zayin. Sheva, what? Yeah. So that's another kasha. Rabbi, look how many. So again, let's make a seder.
What they were doing was the antithesis to Torah.
I can hear. Meaning, let's go over again. The assertion of the Maharal that the Dura Mabul they violated and undermined the 3 Amudim. How many kashas do we have on that? On the Maharal. We had, how could you give a haftacha that the world will exist even if you undermine the Amudim? And that the Gemara and Nafid Zohar, the Fladal, the Mudbeis, etc. Fine. Another question was, well, how could Rashi prove his point that Kodol HaShalom, maybe here it's 3 and there it's 1? We didn't answer that yet. We'll come back soon. Another kasha, what we're asking now. How could you say that Dora Mabul undermined Omud HaTorah when the Gemara says in Pesachim there was no Torah? And HaKadosh Baruch Hu sustained the world for free. V'zanota michazdoi. That's Lashon HaGemara. No, so it's no. But you see, $26. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's a good kasha, but that's obviously he wasn't mechuyev. He was eno mitzvah vayse. He knew it bracha kodesh. But it's not a Torah that can sustain the world. That's what you see. So those are 3 questions on the Maharal. We had a question on Rashi, Stira from 1-1 in Parshas Hazinu to Parshas Noach, nothing to do with the Maharal. 2 Rashis that contradict each other. And we had also another question on the Rashi in Parshas Noach. Maybe this is before the Shua, this is after the Shua. Again, nothing to do with the Maharal. So we had here 5 questions, 3 pretending the Yisrael the Maharal, 2 pretending Rashi. Capisho? That's what you say in Italian, right? Do you say in Italian capisho? Anybody you know? Yeah. Italian, right? Capish.
C-A-P-I-S.
Not capisho. Okay. Okay, capish. Beseder? Now maybe he understands. Capisho, capisheno, capishem. It doesn't work? Okay, good. You know something, I'll tell you the truth, boy. Sometimes I think to myself, when I'm saying these jokes, are you allowed to say these kind of jokes now? When I'm stories? But you want to make it kishmak. So it's not like just stam leitzonis. It's part of the, I don't know. What do you say, Chavre? I don't know, I have a suffix. Maybe a little bit less than usual. Maybe that's the pshar. Water it down. Beseder. So, from the 2 questions that we have on Rashi, Astir Ta'azino, we don't have an answer. Regarding the Shua, we do have an answer. The Shua doesn't obligate because you see also Rashi and Azino says it. He could have wiped them out. Obviously, it wasn't the whole world, as proven from Usher. So, what questions are we left with? The steer from Noach and Azino, I don't have a clue to answer that. And regarding the Maharal, I think one question left. Nachon? How could you sustain a wood without a mudim mokum anigia? There was no Omen Torah yet. So maybe what Abu Mishal was saying. Shia Moshe is saying, yes, but they're acting in a way which is antithesis to Torah. So that's called undermining Emunah Torah. If they would have been okay, and they're not learning Torah, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take upon himself. I think you can say that. I think that's a good answer.
And also, the two Rashis aren't necessarily contradictory. There could be two reasons.
No, it doesn't work like that, Rashi. So you can't prove your point. You can't say it's because of Shalom, maybe it's because of the other thing. You can't prove your point now. You want to say Godel Shalom v'Soni HaMachlokes? Who says it's because of that? It's not Muchach anymore.
Yeah, okay.
Because maybe it's the alternative thing.
You can have two reasons.
No, not in Rashi. If you do, it has to be a reason. They're complementing each other, this one's taking care of that. But stop to say two reasons, no. Here he wrote this, here he wrote that. Again, the Maharal doesn't look like that. But again, maybe the others will do. And Echanami. Now, regarding that last the question that was the strongest one, how could you prove it from Dora Polaga? So Michal is saying something ma'od ma'anyan. Let's give a look carefully again in that Rashi. Perek Yud Aleph Pasuk Tes. Does Rashi say that the world was destroyed? Well, the way I'm understanding the Rashi now, what happened was Dora Mabel, the world was destroyed because of Gezel, and Dora Polaga, their chet was Kfira, and yet they were not destroyed. Because Gezel is terrible, it's Machlokes. And Dora Polaga, they had Shalom. Rabbi Michal is challenging me on that. Give a look, and I think he's right. Give a look, Rabbi Yisai. In Perek Yud Aleph again, Pasuk Tes. Yeah. V'chi kasha. It's like Mamash Rashi building up a rhetorical question. V'chi kasha. Shador HaMabul or Shador HaPolaga? What's more severe? It's a rhetorical question. Elu lo pushtu yad beikar. Elu means Dora Mabul didn't pushtu yad beikar. How would you translate it in English? Didn't stick out their hands to fight Hashem. Okay. The Elu pushtu yad beikar lilachem bo. Right? The Elu, the Dora Mabul, nishtafu. So what did Rashi say meanwhile about Dora Mabul? Well, he didn't say what their sin was. He said what they did do. Elu lo pashtu yad beikar. Elu pashtu yad beikar. Leilachem boy. The Elu Dora Mabul nishtafu. The Elu lo nevdu min ha'olam. Ela shador Mabul lo yu gazlonim. V'ayta meriva b'nehem. But then he says lekach nevdu. Let's say we'll overlook these two words. ואילו היינו נוהגים אבא וריוס ביניהם, שנאמר שפה אחס ודברים אחדים, למדת ששנוי המחלוקת בגודל השלום. So I think what Reb Chol was saying, I guess Reb Chol, you could say it yourself. You don't need my help. I think what you're saying is like this. Rashi never said that the only sin of Dora Mabul was Gezel. He didn't say that. Rashi himself, just a few chapters before, said that they did also with the Zohar and also Gilui Arayos. So how can he go ahead and now say that the only aver is Gezel? But if you look carefully, he doesn't say that. He's just pointing out that Dora Palaga, they were chayte by Kofer Be'ikar. Dora Mabul were not Kofer Be'ikar. So what did they do? With the big tzaddikim? Apparently not, because they were wiped out. But the point that Rashi is saying, meanwhile, is they did not do such a severe chet like Dora HaPalaga. Lo pashtu yadam beikar.
But didn't they mock Noach?
But it's not as severe as Beikar. It's not as severe. Why don't you have a chumash, Motek? You're sharing. Sharing is caring. Okay, good. Good. We'll get to chumash next time. Okay. So meaning, yes, Dora Mabul did 3 averas. And Dora Palaga did 1 avera. But if there would have been Shalom by Dora Mabul, it somehow would have been taken care of. The fact that they did Gezel avoided the remedy of Shalom. Maybe that's what Rashi is saying. Not the original Chatoim. Because everybody agrees that the biggest chet was Dora Palaga, that they were Kofar Beikar, Pashtu Yoda Beikar. But Shalom has an ability to be a remedy. And Dora Babel did not have that remedy. Mashu al derech zeh. Not saying, meaning, what were the averes of Dora Babel? Rashi doesn't even mention. He mentions Gezel just to bring out that it was machlekes. In what context did he mention Gezel? היו גזלונים והייתה מריבה ביניהם. הרב כדורנו, עוד 6 דקות. We need your input. Everybody says 10 o'clock is already late. That's the Amos. No? Right? Does everybody hear my question? Does someone fell asleep? Everybody said, I want to wake you up. Isn't 10 o'clock late? It's like that they woke up someone to take a sleeping pill. You ever hear that? That's already Litzanis. It's like funny Litzanis. I shouldn't do that now. Okay, what we say. So maybe what we're trying to work out over here is Rashi's not speaking about. Rashi's not saying they were wiped away because of Gezel, even though that's the lashon Kachnevdu. What he's saying is they were wiped away because of Gimel Averos, like what the Maral said, and Dora Palaga because Kofar Beikar. But how could you atone for Kofar Beikar? I guess through Shalom. Maybe Shalom would also atone for Gimel Averos. Maybe. I'll give you a dugma to that mibchina mesuyemet. It just hit me now. Kofar Beikar is even maybe worse than Gimel Averos Chamoros. I'll tell you why. Bayis Rishon was nichur because of what? Gimel Averos Chamoros. Bayis Sheni was because Sinas Sinam. Says the Chofetz Chaim means Lashon Hara, which means Kofar Beikar. That's what the Chofetz Chaim says. Right? And look, Bayis Rishon came back after 70 years, and Bayis Sheni didn't come back yet. So to some degree, Kofar Beikar could be very serious. But what I'm just proving is from Dora Palaga, they had Shalom to rectify what they did wrong. And Dora Mabel did not. So what are you going to have to say, maybe? Because Dora Mabel, maybe Shalom rectifies if it's only 1 Amud, and Shalom doesn't rectify if it's Shlosh Amudim. That's hard to say, because the chiluk between 1 Amud and Shlosh Amudim is the world, the kim of the world. But what it takes to rectify, I don't know if you can make such a chiluk. What Shalom rectifies if it's 1 Amud doesn't rectify if it's Shlosh Amudim, that I don't know if you can say. That the world's destroyed because of lack of Shlosh Amudim. And compared to a lack of 1 Amud, that I hear you could say. So meaning, how come the remedy of Shalom didn't work for Dora Mabel?
Shalom doesn't rectify it. It's like a Megan. It protects them. They were safe from destruction. It didn't take away them. They were still...
Whatever. Okay, good. It doesn't rectify, it's a shield. Fine. So, whatever it is, but it helps.
Is it possible to not have Gemilas Chasadim but still to have Shalom? Are they not contradictory?
It says in the Dora, Bayis Sheni, that was seen as Chinam, but they were engaged in Chesed. The Gemara. It says a Bayis Sheni, the Gemara in the Dora. Shayu Oskim B'Torah, B'Gemilas Chasadim, whatever. What was the reason? So there it says Shlo B'Chum Torah Tchila. But it says B'Fresh in Bayis Sheni, with the Sinas Chinam, they were engaged in Gemilas Chasadim, which is a pellet, but that's what it says. Nachon, Richard.
It wasn't genuine.
Yeah.
It wasn't genuine.
What?
It wasn't genuine.
It wasn't genuine.
It's not genuine.
Yeah. Yeah. It's manyan. You can do just manyan to do both. To do Gemilas Chasadim and still be engaged in Sinas Chinam. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, what we say? Yeah. Bavadai. One second, do we have a minion here for Marav?
Well, we do the 10 and I'll
I just remember, I don't think we have a minion.
Okay, don't worry.
Yeah?
Start the 10 and
Okay, Vakasha. Of course.
What were you going to say no?
What?
What were you going to say no?
I want to say this Rashi is Gishmak, no? Was it Gishmak tonight? Those who are awake, what do you say? Just Michael me if I'm doing a little bit. You know what I noticed? I think I said last week. Everybody's like zombies. This is zombies. I'm serious. Are you concentrating on your job?
Can't focus. Can't focus.
How could you? I'm trying my best. I can't. And not because I'm such a tzaddik. It just. And now the world's blaming Israel. So they had Rahmanis for one day.
For one day. That's interesting.
Mamish. But they never killed 1,300 Yidden or more.
400.
Should we start?